Once upon a time, in a quiet suburban neighborhood, lived a young woman named Lily. She had recently moved into a charming old house, unaware of the dark secrets it held. One stormy night, Lily found herself home alone, the rain pouring relentlessly outside. Little did she know, this night would be like no other. As the clock struck midnight, Lily settled into her cozy living room, seeking solace in a book. Suddenly, she heard a faint whisper coming from the hallway. Startled, she looked around, but saw nothing out of the ordinary. Dismissing it as her imagination, she returned to her book. But the whispers persisted, growing louder and more distinct. Lily's heart raced as she realized they were coming from the shadows themselves. The room seemed to darken, and a chill ran down her spine. Fear gripped her, but curiosity pushed her to investigate. With trembling steps, Lily ventured into the hallway, her eyes darting nervously from side to side. The whispers grew louder, their words unintelligible, yet filled with an eerie urgency. She followed the sound, her heart pounding in her chest, until she reached the basement door. Hesitant but driven by an inexplicable force, Lily descended into the depths of the basement. The whispers intensified, echoing through the cold, damp air. The flickering light bulb above cast eerie shadows on the walls, dancing in a macabre rhythm. As Lily reached the bottom of the stairs, she noticed an old, dusty mirror leaning against the wall. Its surface was cracked, reflecting distorted images of the room. She approached it cautiously, her reflection appearing distorted and twisted. Suddenly, the whispers transformed into agonized cries, filling the basement with a cacophony of despair. Lily's heart raced as she realized the voices were trapped souls, yearning for release. Their anguished pleas echoed in her ears, begging for salvation. Driven by compassion and a desire to uncover the truth, Lily reached out to touch the mirror. As her fingertips made contact, a surge of energy coursed through her body. The mirror shattered, releasing a blinding light that engulfed the basement. When the light subsided, Lily found herself standing in a desolate graveyard. The whispers had ceased, replaced by an eerie silence. Tombstones surrounded her, their names worn away by time. Panic gripped her as she realized she was trapped in a realm between the living and the dead. As she wandered through the graveyard, Lily noticed a figure in the distance. It was a young girl, her eyes filled with sorrow. Lily approached her cautiously, sensing a connection between them. The girl spoke, her voice barely a whisper, revealing a tragic tale of lost souls trapped in the mirror. Determined to break the curse and free the tormented spirits, Lily embarked on a perilous journey. She faced terrifying apparitions, encountered vengeful spirits, and overcame her deepest fears. With each step, she grew stronger, fueled by her determination to bring peace to the restless souls. Finally, after a series of harrowing trials, Lily discovered the source of the curse, a malevolent spirit that had been trapped within the mirror for centuries. With unwavering courage, she confronted the spirit, engaging in a battle of wills. In a climactic showdown, Lily managed to banish the spirit, shattering the mirror once and for all. As the shards fell to the ground, the trapped souls were released, their anguished cries replaced by a serene silence. Lily found herself back in her living room, the storm outside subsiding. The house felt lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. She knew she had made a difference, bringing peace to the restless spirits that had haunted her home. From that day forward, Lily's house remained a sanctuary, free from the whispers and shadows that had plagued it. And as for Lily, it was a dark and stormy night, the rain pouring down relentlessly. I found myself driving alone on a desolate road, surrounded by dense woods. The sound of rain hitting the roof of my car echoed through the silence, creating an eerie atmosphere. As I continued down the road, my headlights illuminated the occasional glimpse of abandoned houses, their windows shattered and doors hanging off their hinges. It seemed as if this place had been forgotten by time itself. Suddenly, A figure emerged from the darkness, waving frantically for help. My heart raced as I pulled over, my curiosity overpowering any sense of caution. The rain continued to pour, drenching both of us as I rolled down my window. The man, soaked to the bone, had a wild look in his eyes. He explained that his car had broken down a few miles back, and he had been walking for hours, desperately seeking assistance. Feeling a pang of sympathy, I offered him a ride to the nearest town. As he climbed into the passenger seat, I couldn't help but notice his trembling hands and the way his eyes darted around nervously. Ignoring my instincts, I started the car and continued down the road, the rain pounding against the windshield. The man began to fidget, his unease becoming more apparent. He muttered under his breath, his words barely audible over the sound of the rain. I tried to engage him in conversation, hoping to ease his anxiety, but he remained distant and evasive. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed from the trunk of my car, causing both of us to jump. I glanced at the man, his eyes wide with fear. Without a word, he lunged towards me, his hands wrapping around my throat. Panic surged through my veins as I fought against his grip, struggling to breathe. In a desperate attempt to free myself, I swerved the car off the road, crashing into a tree. The impact sent the man flying through the windshield, his body sprawled lifelessly on the wet ground. Gasping for air, I stumbled out of the wreckage, rain soaking my clothes. As I stood there, trembling and disoriented, I noticed a trail of blood leading from the trunk of my car. My heart sank as I opened it, revealing a horrifying sight. Inside, I found the lifeless bodies of several missing persons, their eyes wide open in terror. It was then that I realized the man I had picked up was not a victim. Relentless torrent, a group of friends huddled together under the shelter of a large, creaking oak tree. The wind howled through the branches, creating an eerie symphony that sent shivers down their spines. Seeking to distract themselves from the storm's wrath, they decided to share the scariest stories they knew. Little did they know that the tale they were about to hear would haunt them for the rest of their lives. One of the friends, Sarah, began her story with a trembling voice. She spoke of a small, isolated town nestled deep within the woods. The town was known as Ravenswood, and it was rumored to be cursed. Legend had it that every year, on a stormy night just like this one, a ghostly figure would appear near the old, abandoned mansion at the edge of town. The figure was said to be that of a young girl, her pale face twisted in anguish. She wore a tattered white dress, stained with mud and blood. It was believed that she was the spirit of a girl who had tragically died in the mansion many years ago. No one knew the exact details of her death, but the townspeople whispered of dark rituals and unspeakable horrors. Sarah's voice quivered as she continued, describing how the ghostly girl would wander the streets of Ravenswood, searching for something or someone. It was said that if she found you, she would beckon you to follow her back to the mansion. Those who dared to follow her were never seen again. The rain intensified, drumming against the leaves and drowning out all other sounds. The friends exchanged nervous glances, their imaginations running wild. Sarah's story had them captivated, their hearts pounding in their chests. She went on to recount a chilling encounter of a brave soul who had ventured into the mansion, determined to uncover the truth behind the haunting. The brave soul had entered the decaying halls, guided only by the flickering light of a candle. But as they delved deeper into the mansion's depths, the candle suddenly extinguished, leaving them in complete darkness. In the pitch-black silence, they could hear whispers, faint at first, but growing louder and more menacing with each passing moment. Shadows danced on the walls, and icy fingers brushed against their skin. The brave soul's heart raced as they realized they were not alone. The ghostly girl had found them. Sarah's voice dropped to a whisper as she concluded her story. She warned her friends never to venture near Ravenswood, for the curse of the haunted mansion was real. The rain continued to pour, as if nature itself was adding to the ominous atmosphere. As the friends sat in silence, the sound of footsteps echoed through the rain-soaked night. They turned to see a figure emerging from the darkness, a pale face twisted in anguish, wearing a tattered white dress. It was the ghostly girl from Sarah's story. In a panic, the friends scattered, running through the rain-soaked woods, their hearts pounding with fear. But no matter how far they ran, they could never escape the haunting presence that followed them, forever etching the terrifying tale of Ravenswood into their souls.